Welcome to Partners in Ovation, where we connect with our many partners both within and outside our community. Today, my guest is Mike Flint from Guardian Pharmacy of Wisconsin. And I'm very excited about having you here, Mike. I really appreciate you coming. We have a long history of being together in some way with Ovation. One of the things I want to ask you about, you have a really good story. I want to hear about your journey of how you got involved in this.
Sure. When I was in high school, I started working at Shore Drugs, which is owned by Max Goisman, back in, so we're like, 74 or 75. And I really enjoyed working in that atmosphere. I got to watch Max interact with people and do things, just the way he treated everybody. And it was just really fun to see that interaction. And I'd always work Christmas Eve, and he'd always give me a bonus on Christmas Eve for working. And he was open long hours. He was open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Saturdays and the same on Sunday. And I just couldn't wait to work. I'd work those hours and stuff like that. I really enjoyed working there. And I think that's what kind of got me interested in pharmacy. So I went to college here in Milwaukee for 3 years of what they called pre-pharmacy school, and then went to Madison for my pharmacy school. And while I was there, I wanted to get a job in a pharmacy there. And I called a pharmacy that was close to where I lived. It was called Malat's Pharmacy. And I always remember the night I went down there for an interview. And I got there, and the pharmacist, Bill Malat, there was behind the counter waiting on people. There was nobody else in the pharmacy. And there were people everywhere. And I looked up at him and I said, Mr. Malat, that's probably the last time I ever called him Mr. Malat, because he's called me Bill. And I said, Mr. Malat, I just talked to you on the phone. My name is Mike. Why don't I help you out? I'll just jump behind the counter. So I went behind the counter, not really knowing what to do. But there was this old-time cash register, one of these cash registers that weighs like 2 tons, and it's got like 5 drawers in it, and you press it, and all this sort of stuff. The exact same one that was at Shore Drugs. Unbelievable. It was like, it's just destiny that this is where I need to be.
Yeah.
And so I was ringing people up, and he's looking at me, how did you know? And I told him, I've worked on this register before. And again, it's a register, got to be from 1940 something or whatever the case may be. And that's how that all got started. And then I went to school, and I stayed at Malat's and worked there as a pharmacist for a long time. And then eventually, in 1992, I bought the pharmacy from Bill Malat. Kept working there as one retail pharmacy. And then as time went on, we kind of started to look at other retail pharmacies, and we bought a couple more after that. But during that period of time, we had some patients who were just having so much trouble with their medication. And I had one patient come in, and he's only about 5 foot tall, and he used to dress up as a leprechaun during, March. It was hilarious, St. Patrick's Day. He also dressed up as Santa, go to the hospital and everything. But he also owned a bar. He and his wife did, and so he drank too much and ate too much, and he had high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, and diabetes, and all the above. Came in one day, and he had all his medicines in a bag, and he said, Mike, I quit. I can't do this anymore. And I said, well, his name's Don. I said, Don, what if I put these in a med box for you? And I would say I might have been the first pharmacy in the state of Wisconsin back in the early 80s that started putting meds in med boxes for patients. And we kept him going for the longest time before, he eventually passed away. But then there was 1, then 2, then 5, then more people heard about it, and we started, did about 50 or 60 different med boxes. And then some people in the long-term care world got a hold of this and said, hey, Mike, have you ever thought of servicing an assisted living or a nursing home? And I didn't even know the lingo. But I heard some of their problems, and I said, well, I think I can do that. So I went out and interviewed with one of them, and they gave me all these things. This is what we need. And I came back and I said, guess what? So we're going to start doing it. So this just kept growing and growing and growing, such to the point that we ended up leaving the retail industry, which I really liked because I liked the face-to-face with people, and then concentrating on long-term care. And then we kept growing that, and then we were able to partner with Guardian Pharmacy. They own about 35 of our pharmacies around the country. I'm still an owner in our current pharmacy. We have 3, one in Madison, one in Menominee Falls that services here, and actually one in West Dallas. And so I manage all 3 of them. I love it. I love servicing this population, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
I want to ask you, so Well, what makes you so passionate about long-term care and also coming into, the assisted living business? Because
Yeah.
I know I know we've been with you for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
And have always loved your services. And even though you were based in Madison, which was kind of a concern of how are we going to get our meds, what happens if it doesn't come, never have we had one issue.
Well, you know what? I talked to one of the things about the difference between retail and long-term care. In the retail world, Trish, I can talk to you about your medication, whatever, and you can look at me and you can acknowledge me. And sometimes people even call, oh, thank you, Dr. Mike, and stuff. And I get this immediate feedback, gratification, that people understand what I'm saying and appreciate what I do. In the long-term care world, we don't get to do that as much, right? We're working in our pharmacies and we're delivering the medication to people that we may never see or may never meet. So sometimes it's really difficult to get that gratification, right? So I tend to be the loop with people. I'm going back to the pharmacy and talking to them about, hey, let me tell you about one of these patients that you serve. And I'd give the name, I don't give the names, but I read in the obituary, we served him, but I read in his obituary that this man was responsible for figuring out the way to mass produce penicillin. Did you know that? I remember the time we were interviewing, we were at one of the nursing homes over by Madison, and I'm with one of my associates, and we're standing there talking, and this elderly gentleman comes up to us, and he starts talking, he introduces him, we shake hands, and we're talking about all sorts of things. He says, oh, and he was like 92 or 93. And he says, oh, by the way, I built this place.
Wow.
So he actually built it like 50 years ago.
Wow.
To live in it. And so I talk to people about these are the people who built this land. There was a guy who built Highway 51 that goes from Madison down to Iowa, and he tells the story this summer, all the workers who died because it was so hot and mosquitoes were infected. It was just, and I said, we got to remember, these people built the city. They built these things. And we're here because they were here. So when you think about that, they deserve the best care we can give them.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
So and we have to advocate. My office is out just right outside the billing office, and if you listen to our billing people advocate for with insurance companies who don't want to pay for stuff, and do it on behalf of people, the stories are unbelievable. The hoops we go through. So I love doing it. This is why I love doing it.
I can feel your passion, which is the best way to do anything, is following your passions, which is so great. Now, I know that Guardian Pharmacy of Wisconsin offers an array of educational series. What are some of the topics that you discuss, and what's coming up so that we can look out for it?
Well, what's the neat thing about our association with Guardian is they've built an online platform.
Okay.
That all sorts of different topics. Right now, I think they're looking at some psychosis things, dementia things. In fact, I think something's coming up in the next few weeks on both of them. I think we have a program coming up on COVID stress. Not only stress for staff, but stress for the communities and the residents of the communities. And so they're able to bring this technology that myself I can't do. To put that out there. And we will put this out there, and we'll have 500 to 1,000 people attend these. In fact, our own staff was arguing about who could attend this time because it's like a 6-hour event, and we just can't take everybody off the floor to do this. So, so it brings a lot of information to people. The best part is I actually do some of these personally on site at some of the facilities. And we kid around about talking about diabetes and hypertension. I've actually put on 2 of those programs. I'm doing one next week on COVID and the latest information on COVID. And so I'm meeting with about 25 nurses at a facility, and it's fun because I use some some of the PowerPoint stuff, but not much. I put one word up here and that's it, but I'm not reading from the PowerPoint.
No, I love it.
Because you can tell I kind of like to veer off
I
the
love
other day
it.
with stories
I love it.
and stuff like that.
I think that's so great.
So it's fun. So we have a lot of different ideas and talk about, and I want to talk to them, so tell me how your residents are doing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to open up with that before we even get down into COVID. Tell me how your residents are. How are you guys managing this? Tell me about your life. Because that helps me go back to my staff, who arguably are probably everybody's dealing with their own challenges. But hey, you need to understand, this is what's happening over here.
No, I think it's so great because you're finding out about the people first.
Yeah.
And who are you treating. I think it's wonderful. I see that you have a blog, okay?
Yep.
And that you share a lot of personal and inspirational stories. How did that start, and can you give me an example of that?
Well, no surprise, how it started was that I speak in idioms, and I speak in stories. I just do. Stories of personal life, stories of things that I read. I can tell you, I bring stories from the Bible all the time to my staff about things. And it's just fun. And they love it. Once a month, I get together with all the staff from each pharmacy, and we bring them all together. And what we talk about is celebrate birthdays for the month, then work anniversaries, and then I always have something. And they tell me they just can't wait for the something. What's the story? And sometimes it's really neat stuff that happened at work. Sometimes it's just something that I read and things like that. And one of my staff members, she said, "You got to do a blog. I'm going to make you do a blog." So she lines me up on this using WordPress and then LinkedIn, all this kind of stuff, which I was like, I already have 2 emails. I don't have any more time for this. Right. So then I started, I started doing it. And, my latest one is doing the dishes. And, these days, nobody does the dishes because you have a dishwasher. Well, back in the day, when we were younger, I have a brother and 2 sisters, and we had dinner, and my mom and dad got up and went about their business. Well, we had to do the dishes. And it became such a part of our family. We would joke around about each other's teachers in school, or we'd kid each other about, oh, you like so-and-so, did you know what's going on? And we'd all this conversation and making fun of each other, but actually laughing about things and all this kind of stuff. And I realized how important that was. Because nowadays it's not like that. Everybody just whipping out the dishes and then going to soccer games, it's just like that, right after dinner. So we had this time to do this and to talk about our lives with each other. And I thought about this, actually. I drove down to Florida on vacation in March, and this came to mind, and I was thinking about that. So I just like the whole way of family getting together, and talking about that. The one before that, which is really unusual, was on fish sticks. I don't know if you saw that. And it's called Fish Sticks. So everybody at work knows I love fish sticks. I don't know. I just love fish sticks. And I like Mrs. Paul's, which you can't find very often. Friday nights, my dad working for the Belter Company, so he's in the restaurant business. Right. So he knew everybody, in the restaurant business. Well, on Friday nights, we used to go to Cult's on Oakland. You remember that, right? Mm-hmm. And Mr. Cult was there, and we'd go in, and we'd have his haddock fish fry, this warm rye bread, and coleslaw, and it was great. And I just loved it, But during Lent, you couldn't have meat on Fridays and whatever, so we'd either go out or we'd be at home having fish sticks. And, there's supposed to be some sacrifice for the, our Catholic religion, but not for me. This was great. This is fish sticks. I love fish sticks. And again, it made me think, though, about the fun time we had at Cult's and family together and all the goofy stuff. We used to rip open the sugar packets and just start knocking them down. And that was great. So it just, again, as you see, all my stories center around family. Mm-hmm. They center around stuff like that. And I love talking about that.
No, which is great because you're kind of running your business again, family. You have another family besides your family. Yeah. And that's a great way to look at it. It's
how we run our business.
Yeah.
I was golfing with my son the other day, and we had this one hole is about 170 yards, and we both approached the hole totally different. He's 6'2". He hits this monster flying thing that lands, 10 feet from the green. I'm using a wood to get it there and all that kind of stuff. But we both end up with the same score. And I talked about that, and there was a little segment that I talked about business. There's a lot of different ways to do this. Listen to your staff. Listen to how people are talking about things, because there's a lot of ways to achieve the same result.
Right, and we don't always have the answers.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why we love teams. It's wonderful.
So the blog is fun. I don't do it that often.
Okay.
I don't do it weekly or whatever. Just
I'll
sporadic.
have to look you up.
Yeah, you should, because it's fun. I enjoy
just
it.
The fact that you love fish sticks just really was
there you
the
go.
best.
I'm a real simple guy.
No, I
gotta tell
love
you.
that. I love it. Okay, so what do you do when you're not working? What do you do in your downtime, Mike?
In downtime.
Yeah.
I make sure I don't have any downtime, first of all. I like being really busy. When the weekends come, I still wake up at 4:30 or 5 like I do during the week, and I just pack it. And it's, you know, it might be out, first thing, let's get out there and get running. Let's go play golf. I build Legos with my grandsons. I love building Legos. I got Legos at home, big sets that we've built together and stuff like that. And just, I do some gardening. It really helps get my mind off, work. I enjoy playing basketball. Basketball in particular, probably the most, because it's very intense, and I need intensity outside of work, which is intense, so that I forget about work. So, I still do a lot. I keep really active. I just like being really busy.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
It's good for me to be busy. So I enjoy being busy.
Well, it has been a pleasure having you here today.
It's my pleasure.
It really has. Getting to know Mike Flint and fish sticks. I mean, it's too much. But really, actually, what I really love is that you are a partner with us, and we really enjoy that. We enjoy your services. We really commend you on that, and we hope for many, many more years of us working together, which is great.
Well, thank you for getting together, and we enjoy being here. We have a lot of fun when we come here, and it's just a great place to be. So.
Thank you for watching today's episode. If you liked what you saw, please make sure to subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell. You can also follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn. Goodbye and have a great day.